All right, guys, thank you so much for your patience. Sorry about that false start. We have to get our Zoom ready. I will apologize, I've got a little vocal strain tonight. We are gonna call this meeting to order for organization. We'd like to start by welcoming all of our members here, all of our members' guests here, and all of our business partners. If you're a business partner, can you put your hand up? And I'm looking around here. Why don't you just real quick stand up and say what your business is? What? Thank you.
Coastal cleaning of Cassie Bauer, RLX 360, Spirit Experience.
That's one of our new.
Chris Rand, Business Management, management, property management.
SOAR, I'm Vonda Tackett, SOAR Vacation Rental Services. We provide full and part-time property management services.
And Rhonda, actually, Rhonda, all the other board members, you can stand up, please. These are the other people you can complain. And Ronald, we've got Winter with us tonight. She's manning the Zoom. So everybody say, hey, Winter. Hi, Winter. Oh, she's on Zoom. Oh, somebody's got a rifle. So we're gonna open our meeting tonight. We have a very special guest here tonight. If you don't know her, which I'm gonna find hard to believe. Carolyn Tarleton is here. She's the owner of Insurance Junction, and she's here to talk to us about the needs of our short-term rentals in Galveston. And Carolyn, for those who don't know, is a former council member. You probably all know that. She was very instrumental in the 2015 LDR and partnered with Strode as we were forming and starting up. All of us, there were a couple of party houses they needed to be dealt with. And all of a sudden we were like, hey, we need to come up with something that works for the community and the owners. And she was a great partner with us on that. And we were eternally grateful for that. I have anything else on here for you, Carolyn? Just, Carolyn was great about listening to all sides of the issue and bringing them on our behalf to the council. We were grateful for that. So without any further ado, Carolyn, if you could come up here. I was about to say, I'm gonna laugh. All right, listen for your number. Yeah.
The whole thing of the last four.
How about the last four?
8072.
Come on up.
Come on.
Let us tell you how the prices work,
So
Ronald.
we have three prizes. We have a gift certificate for $50 from etc. We have
Yay. Oh, thank you.
CHF 2 tickets to their attractions. All of them, Dixon's House, the Dolphin Tour, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have a donation from the Galveston Railroad Museum. There are 4 Polar Express mugs and hot chocolate.
Very good. It's Christmas.
So you're first, you pick which
And
one.
those GHS tickets are $64.
Oh, yeah. No. We will see, et cetera, right here. Yep. Thank you. If you have not been, there also they get Strode members discount when you eat, et cetera. So. Absolutely.
Without further ado.
Hi everyone, how are you? I do want to introduce Alex Muti. Alex is a former, well, he's a realtor, he's not a former realtor, and he's also an insurance agent. He's also the one that has the expertise in the short-term rental market and can be able to help you in any way that he possibly can. He's a phenomenal person, great family, has two little kids. They are so cute. So I just want Alex to be up here because he's also going to talk to you about my also speaking. I just want to I see a lot of new faces, but I also see faces that I have been with a long time. So I kind of like to get an update where this group is. So for those who have a short-term rental that is owner occupied, but you rent out your own house on a part-time basis, who are you out there?
Repeat what you're asking.
Okay, so if it's your primary home,
Oh, primary home, yeah. So you rent a room.
it's your house, and you rent out a part of your house, or you may be out of your house and you let somebody rent it for a part-time basis. Who are you? Yeah. You.
Yeah, that's probably everything.
Got it. Carolyn. Did they hear me? I had a question about if you run out of space. It looked like we had two people that raised their hand, and you are maybe three, that you own a home and you rent out either a room or you rent out your whole house and you leave the house for that period of time while they rent it.
I've done it and I may do it again, but I'm not doing it now.
Okay, all right. So there's, and you too?
Yeah.
So, got it. So how many of you own your own home? You do not rent it out, you don't rent out a room, but you actually own properties, properties that you use as a short-term rental. That's what I was kind of thinking, still basically about to say. And the reason why I'm asking those questions is because whatever you ask me, it's going to be it's going to be very different how we answer your question. Because it's going to be different policies that respond to your property. So makes it a little bit more difficult for us to talk about it. So I'm going to kind of open up the discussion about what it is that y'all are looking for in your policy, and what type of policies you have, and what kind of issues have you had. So are some of y'all using your own homeowner policy and have enforced the policy so that you can have somebody rent out your house? Anybody doing that? Is anybody just getting a policy and it's just a short-term rental policy?
Yes.
Okay, and to me, that seems to be the best type of policy for what we're doing here in Galveston. And do all of y'all carry 3 separate policies or 4? Meaning, do you carry a wind policy? Do you carry a flood policy? Do you carry a short-term rental for the property? And do you carry a short-term policy for the liability? Or do you carry both the liability and the property on one? Or maybe you carry the property by itself and extend your liability from your homeowner policy? I'm getting an idea so I know how to take this where we're going to talk about it.
Chairman, I also have an umbrella policy that extends.
So is there a couple of people just kind of tell me what kind of policies you have? You got about 4. Alrighty. Ron, what about you?
Wind, flood,
Okay, so when you rent out your short-term rental, you rent out your room or space or the whole house. Are you still there at the same time that the renter's there? You leave.
I'm not there, except for now.
Got it. Okay. Are you still on the island in a place that you own? So do you call the place where you go to your primary? Okay, that's interesting. So do you ever rent out the other one?
You do. The place you go to in your home, rent out your second.
Right. I rent out my second one.
Okay, well, so that's different. And that's what we're trying to get to. So you have a primary home and you have a secondary home. The secondary home you treat as you go there, you enjoy it, but you also rent it out to other people and they come back. Okay, good.
A lot of people call it homeowners. Yeah.
A landlord policy.
Yeah.
Because there's different ways you can insure it. When we first started a couple of years ago, short-term rentals were there, but they weren't really as active as they are now. And they weren't as active under the city code as they were a few years back. And so the city started Okay, so when you do both, do they let you know that they can provide you some insurance? When they ask you that, you actually get an insurance policy that you can see. That's our concern, is that you don't get to see what that policy is. It states a lot of things, which is probably great. It also states that they will give you coverage for nothing. I don't believe that anything, you can't get anything for nothing. If a company starts having major losses, where are those losses being paid from? Who's the carrier? What is their AFS rating? There's a lot to it. So it's good that they're providing that, but one of the things that I would love to see, and that we would both love to see, is what's the policy? Can we see the insurance policy? Is it an insurance policy?
Probably
Is it-
self-insured.
Yeah. Well, then you need to see if does it have bonds, does it have backing? Because if all you do is base that what you're doing there and you don't insure what you have, you could potentially have an issue that you're gonna end up paying for. And we're not stating that you will, but just for instance, I did see that it states that if there's an intentional act by a guest that rents your property, those claims are not covered. Do you understand what that means? So when your contract says there is no smoking allowed in my unit, and the guest signs that, but the guest intentionally smokes in your home and causes damage to your home, that's not covered. Okay. If you say on your contract, no parties allowed at all, and the the guest signs that and says, okay, we're not gonna have a party, and they have a party. That's an intentional act, not covered under their policy. As you all know about the incident that happened where there was a murder, whatever it may be, is that gonna be covered under that policy, under those rules? So you can't always go by just what they say. You also need to protect yourself by having your own insurance policy and making sure that your agent understands exactly what it is that you're doing. Because mark my words, if you do your insurance and you don't tell me all the things that you just told me, I can still insure your property wrong. Okay? And you don't want to do that. So the person that you want to be the most honest with is your insurance agent, and let them know exactly what the deal is. Because you're not going to save yourself any money by saying, oh, no, I did, or oh, no. It just means that the agent can't give you the best possible policy because they don't understand what you're with. And as you can see, if you look around this room, they'll all are different. It's a little bit here, it's a little bit there, and each policy is going to react a little bit different. And again, I'm not up here to state that Airbnb or whatever, they're not going to be here or there or whatever. What I'm just saying is beware. Use your common sense and realize it's what you got to do for yourself and for your financial future. Okay? Would you like to say anything real quick? Okay. Is there any questions real quick before I can make any other comments about? Yes.
What is the difference between a short-term rental policy and one that is for rental property?
Okay, so on flood and wind, it doesn't matter, okay? Because there's no liability exposure. So a secondary property is a secondary, it's a long-term, it's a short-term. So you don't need to worry about those two. Under your property policy, there is a difference. And the reason being is that because a long-term renter is considered a better because you know who the person is, they're there daily, they're there for a long term, they're under a contract, and so the carrier believes that that's a better fit. Is it? Is it not? You know, it's just how the carrier thinks. It's also as they think if you're married, they give you a better rate than if you're single. Because they think if you're married, you're gonna go home every single night and take care of your family. Well, we all know that's not always true, but that's how insurance works. So it's a better rate for married, same thing with the long term than a short term. Because on a short term, you have different people coming and different uses and different exposures and different whatever it may be. So they want to charge a little bit more. But I will tell you that now that short-term rentals has been around and you're starting to see carriers starting to give flexible rates, better rates, broader coverages, doing more because it is an area where it's growing. But it's also an area that has not been tested out in the courts yet. So until insurance, it's just like anything that's new, it comes out, you get your insurance, until it gets tested in the courts, the insurance companies don't know whether or not they're gonna have to pay for this loss or that loss or whatever. And then the court turns around and says, oh, no, you are gonna have to pay for that. And the insurance company will say, oh, no, that's not what we intended. And then the court says, but you will. And so that's when you'll start seeing a lot of changes. But right now, we're not there. So you are gonna start to see a whole bunch of different types of policies, which is good for you, but you still gotta look at what you're buying. And the one thing I can always recommend is if you don't do anything, look at your exclusions. At least take the time and read your exclusions. To every item they give you, they're gonna give you an exclusion for what they gave you. Look at your conditions. What are the conditions that they're telling you that you have to abide by? Just like I just told you about Airbnb. If there are intentional acts, there's no coverage for the property damage they did to your property. Well, what is that? Well, that's smoking, you told them not to. Intentional act. Having a party, we told them not to. Those acts will be covered under your regular policy because that's just, it just is. But those are the things that you do have to look at because they can be pretty substantial claims in the long run. And also too, you don't want to get involved in a lawsuit or anything like that. Which is the best thing. And both Alex and I can tell you, most small businesses, when they get involved in a lawsuit and there's not coverage under the policy, and they are exonerated at the end, they usually, not, I shouldn't say that word, but a lot of the times they still go under because of the claim and the lawyers that they have to pay. So remember that your policy should pay for legal expenses all the way through and carry liability insurance, but not if you're carrying the right policy. You gotta make sure you're carrying the right policy. The right liability, it pays for the legal expense. That's what you want. Because you can be innocent all day long, but you don't want to have to pay for an attorney to prove your innocence. So any other questions?
Are y'all going to share cards?
Yes, we are. He also has, Alex, has some things that he would like to pass out. Alex is, how many of y'all know him by? Yeah. Alex is very, he'll get really involved in your stuff. The best way to do with any agent is to give them everything that you possibly can about your property. Give them the prior policies. You're not giving up information, I promise you. The agent has to have that to be able to give it to the property carrier anyway. You have to compare apples to apples. Sometimes, every once in a while, I'll see a policy that comes on my desk, and I'll tell the insured, do not change. This is a wonderful policy. Stay with this company. You've got, this is excellent coverage. And we get that sometimes. Not a whole lot, but we do get that. And so you're not doing yourself a service if you don't give the agent all that information. And you want to be as honest about everything and for them to advise you as much as they can. Write all your information down and all your documentation.
When you say all your information, what information?
Okay, so if you are insuring, you just bought a piece of property and you want to do a short-term rental. And this is what we'll get sometimes. We get the phone call, hi, I'm buying property and it's like, okay, how are you gonna use it short-term or long-term? I don't know. But you do know, most of the time it's I want a short-term rental, but they don't know the long-term rental is gonna be cheaper than a short-term rental, and it's, you know, you can't do that. It's either or. Because if the agent can shop the short-term rental for the best carrier with the broadest coverage, you could probably pay less than the long-term rental that you had or that you got. And when it comes to the gonna get a claim paid. Whereas if you don't, and you go with the other one and you file that claim, so I'm gonna tell you, when the numbers hit, or if somebody's life is involved, or there's seriously bodily injury, companies immediately put up that flag and look for every way to do a reservation of rights to you that says, we acknowledge your claim, but we need to do more research to find out if we need to pay this claim. And then they're gonna go back and it's gonna be, well, wait a minute, I didn't necessarily say that. I didn't want it to be a long term, maybe I wanted a short, you see, that's where it gets all muddy. Don't do it, because you give us all the information you can, and we'll find the best quote, the best coverage, we will look for it. But if you don't, we can't do it, and we're gonna turn around and give you maybe something that you don't need, and which will hurt you, or your family, or your grandkids in the long term. And that's not good. So you don't want to do that. Insurance is something that is meant to be your protection for your financial future. That you've got to take the time to invest in what you're buying, especially in the short-term market. There's so many changes. All the carriers are different. There's all these home sharing. And like I said, all these home sharing, they have not been tested out in court, so until that happens, and then also to your sharing coverage with your own personal. So if you have something happen to you and you had a short-term rental claim, your liability limit might be compromised in the sense you have no more limits. So there's so many things you gotta look at, because I don't want to share my liability limits with somebody else. It's just like in car rentals. If you go buy car insurance, get car rental insurance. I remember I used to always ask, go and say, let me have your insurance policy. I go through the file, I do whatever, and I'm like, I don't have that. I said, what do you mean you don't have that? I said, well, I don't know if I want to buy it or not. I'd like to read it. And I was like, you just don't have it, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I got to get it. Anyway. So I went through all of that. I get all the policies. I started looking, I was reading. And this was in my early 20s. Okay, so I'm in my 60s now, so I'm not that crazy. But so I would sit there and read them, and I was like, holy crap. So in their rental agreement, it says that if you have an accident and you are charged with a DWI or any type of drinking, whatever, or if you're not wearing your seatbelt, we will deny your claim. Scary. And I give you that because you have to realize anything that is not regulated like it is in insurance that you buy, you may be subject to that. And it's no time to find out when you have a claim, you have a loss, and you're denied. And that's all we're trying to explain to y'all. Make sure that this investment that you are investing to have for your financial future, take the time to make sure that you got the policy to make sure that you're going to be financially okay if a claim does happen. Okay.
Well, and Tara Lynn, what I'm hearing from you is we're having our doctors and our lawyers to have our insurance agents, and people who are 100% straightforward.
Oh, you have to.
Because you can't help us without that.
Yeah. I can tell you so many more stories. It's unbelievable. I know you don't want to hear it because it's late and stuff, but you do. I can even tell you now on your auto insurance, the biggest thing that people do all the time, all day long, is how many people live in their home. They don't want to tell you about that 15-year-old.
Of course not.
But did you realize that's the law? And if you don't do that, by law, if you said no, and that 15-year-old takes your car and has a wreck, they can deny you. Yep. And when they end up killing somebody or ended up doing something so stupid that they didn't mean to, and it's foolish. And look what happened. So don't do it, because I'm going to tell you, there are so many things that you can do, and you can put you with companies that can have the policy, have the 15-year-old, you're not going to be surcharged. A lot of those carriers will do that, but you got some that don't. But you got to find an agent that will find that policy for you. So be honest with your agent and tell them up front what to do. The best way to make sure that you're going to have the correct coverage that you have when you have the loss. Any questions?
I'm wanting to know the difference, insurance safety. And they're revival. I'm concerned about what that means for us in the future. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so this happens all the time. We've had many carriers that were even located on this island that we were financially A-plus carriers that have, and they were right in California, Florida, and other states. Well, they started having those losses, and when they start to trip down, and all of a sudden they go into receivership here in Texas. That's why you always, and every single time, you need to review the policy that you're with. Just because you think it's a company that you think is A-plus does not mean that that financial security is going to last forever. Because it doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Things do change. The good thing, and this is what I always believe about Galveston, is that we are an island. We are an island that when the water comes, the Gulf and the Bay, it comes, but it goes right back out. We built and we tried to build beyond code. Now, we have a lot of houses that are not, but we also have a lot of the homes that were built in 1800, built better than what we can build today. And the test of time has shown that we have done well on the island. So, yes, it does create an issue, but so far I have not seen that issue cause where we can't have markets that we're going to always have coverage. So it may not be with the carrier that you've always been with, and they're no longer there, but there are other markets that step right back in and run right on the island and you're making a lot of money. Because I'm going to tell you, the ones that have pulled from here did not lose it here. Remember that. Everybody said, well, it's you because you live on Galveston Island. They pulled because they had losses in California from the wildfires, losses from the Florida, whatever. They had bad businesses in those areas. It's not because of here. So please realize that, because when I was on council, I would have to go to Washington, D.C. I was like, I hear this one more time. And I'd have to tell them, no. We pay more in flood insurance and we pay less out on claims. Most of our stuff goes to everyone in the state that is not funding what they need to be funded. So those are the type of things, the more you can educate yourself with that, you're talking to legislatures, the better that we will get, the coverages that we get, the companies that do come, and it does happen. I promise you, I've seen it with us, it happens. But they do come, they do go, but I don't see that ever being a problem for us not ever getting a company to write us on the island. Things can change, just like we could hit tomorrow, but it's not, who knows. But just from what I've seen throughout the years, all the way to this time, companies want this area. They do know it's good. They've seen what type of losses that are paid out. And Harvey's another one. They didn't pay out all those losses here. They paid them all out in Frenchwood and all of those areas. Why? Because that water sat there and sat there and sat there and sat there. So we have a whole different dynamics. And again, when our building code keeps changing and improving and standing a lot, it also means that we're going to be sinking, all this other stuff. Can't address all that.
I know that everything's going up in price, but have you noticed the renewals are 30–40% higher this year?
And did you repeat the question?
Sure. And, are we seeing that rates are going up? And he was saying 30–40%. Not all of them are going to that high, but yes, some are. When that does happen, and I don't want to bore y'all with all of this, but insurance companies, when they go into selling policies, they also have to have either their bonds, their reinsurance, and all this other. And most of the time, the reinsurer is coming up from the Northeast. And you know the Northeast has had a lot of problems. And when they start having these losses over here and over here, California and Florida, they start looking at Texas and saying, hey, you need to raise your rates because we're having losses here, and I don't want to step in to have to pay any claims. That's not what I'm doing reinsurance for. I'm trying to make money off my money, and I don't want to have to pay up. So you either raise your rates or we're gonna non-renew your contract and all your customers will get non-renewed. So they'll have to increase their rates. But also realize that in time, if we don't have major losses here, that we go up, it comes down. And then you see the rates go down, and then you see a softer market, and then it does this little thing. That's why you always have to monitor your insurance and how you're gonna do your financial future, because it's never like this. It's like this. So just
Have
remember
you
that.
actually seen rates go down?
No,
premiums?
No, across the board, premiums have been increasing. When we talk about maybe where rates change or get better, it would be in the non-property section of insurance. But sometimes even the non-property section gets affected because of the property and they're carrying the liability. So that can also do that. So there's no straight answer for that. But across the board, we've seen rate increases. And of course, with wind, they want to increase our residential by 20, our commercial by 40. And, you always have to fight. Flood, FEMA is NFIP, it's crazy. The legislature has messed up the whole system. It's horrible. We're in a big mess. I will be honest with you on that one. I don't know how we're gonna get it out of it, but it's huge. And so that's a whole different topic for another night, but it's huge. And that will affect us if we don't overcome it. And it's a fight that we're gonna fight at Congress. And that is something that we're gonna have to do very, very soon and very, very hard, because otherwise we're not gonna be able to afford our flood insurance. But that has anything to do with your short-term rental, just because you're. And yet, business. 40%. But we have to fight it, and we fight it every time, and we go up there, but it's never over. You can't say we won the battle this time. It is an ongoing battle each and every single time you have to do it. No buts and whatever, you have to do it. So.
Do any last questions for Carolyn?
Alex, would you like to? No.
Remember, Alex, I'm gonna chime something in. They know my situation. You know, we're all trained not to discuss finances with each other. That's a little vulgar. Start talking to your friends and your neighbors. I learned it the hard way. She knows this. I've owned a home on the island since 2007, and my homeowners have just crept up. And I just thought, well, that's just the price of owning a home in one of the best places in the world. Until I looked at it one day, it was $9,000. And I went, holy Toledo, how in the world? Like, it just looks like this. And I finally started talking to some trusted friends and neighbors, and they were all like, that's crazy, Art. We're not paying anywhere near that. I called Tara Lynn, another insurance agent, and there had been a glitch in my insurance. I ended up with a $13,000 refund, which I'm very happy to get, and never any good explanation. So if you're seeing stuff that doesn't make sense, or you're getting these 20, 30% increases, I just thought it was the price of owning a home in paradise. Talk to your friends, because you may be getting something that's not supposed to be happening.
Yeah, and also too, flood insurance is very, very, very complicated. And the reason for that is because no matter where you live, it's going to be different for everybody. It depends on your zone, it depends on your house bill, how high is it, all that stuff is in consideration when you do flood insurance. So it's very important too, when you do flood insurance, that you go to an agent that understands flood insurance. If you go to an agent that rarely does flood, and we do not like to tell you, don't do that, at least take your flood to somebody that knows flood insurance, that can tell you, no, that's not the way to do it, because it is that difficult, it is that complicated, and it's ever changing all the time. And Alex, you do have a handout. Yes. So Alex did a handout that talks about all the different coverages that you can get. Can I just give 2 minutes?
Please.
Yes.
And for
I'm not a good speaker.
For our members who've joined us on Zoom, it's in the chat, so if you pull that up, you can see what we're looking at.
Also, just to let you know, insurance, you can get all types of insurance. You can get your property, you can get your liability, you can get loss of rents, you can get vandalism, you can get all sorts of different coverages. And it depends on what type of policy you buy. So if you buy a very limited policy, you're not gonna get all the coverages that are on this list. And some companies charge a whole lot for this list, and some charge a little, some charge based on your credit. So it's all over the page too, but you've got to realize, what can I afford? What can I not afford if I don't insure it and there's a loss? You have to really look at that and get a good agent, sit down, talk to them, tell them your concerns, be honest, put it all up front, and find the best policy for you. And you need to review that frequently because times change. So those are some of the things that Alex is trying to show you that you can get. So if somebody says they can't get loss of rent, NFIP, which is your flood, they don't get loss of rent. There are private flood carriers that you can get loss of rents. When you can get loss of rents, if you put it on a commercial form, it doesn't mean that your property is commercial. It just means that's how you're rating it, and it could also be actually cheaper. And then residential side you can. So there's all different ways that you can do it. You need to find out what's important for you and what you need, and then that's how you figure out what kind of insurance you need.
So what I'm hearing is like all professionals, this is a special.
Yes.
I did not, my voice is loud. I'm gonna put this down. Guys, can we have a round of applause? Hugely valuable to us. It's one of the most expensive and challenging parts of owning property on this island, and particularly as a short-term rental. That's a lot of information. I think we need another prize.
Yes.
Carolyn, would you be so kind? All right, last four.
What are my 4 hours? 80688.
There we are. So we have left. We have Ron. Ron, what's left?
So the GFF 2 tickets, GHF attractions are the
Polar Express.
Polar Express cockpit.
Somebody's gonna go see some attractions.
The Dolphin Tour is amazing. People are crazy for the Dolphin.
And those tickets are, those come from Stroke. We had a couple questions come in from the Zoom, which thank you guys for tuning in. Well, one of them I can answer this one. Can a policy include coverage for the loss of rental income?
Yes.
Yes, but you have the right age to the policy and all that. Are there discounts available for, oh, this is a good one. Are there discounts available for safety features or security measures on the camera? And I'd like to tack on that question. Some of us have cameras on our property. There's all kinds of safety stuff. Or is that accurate?
Yes, just remember, when you buy a broad policy, most of the time it's gonna cover burglaries if you have an alarm system, but it may not cover theft. And if some of y'all, for you to realize what theft is, it's, you put your ring here, you come back, and the ring's no longer there. You don't know how it disappeared. There's no breaking and entering. You just don't know where it's, but it's gone. And you may have made it or something and kind of thing. So that's theft. And you've got to, when you're talking to your agent, is that covered under my policy, especially for a short-term rental, because you have property that's on yours, and it may all of a sudden, where did that go? It's gone. I don't know how it went. We didn't have a burglary or a break-in. And so that may not be covered. That may not be covered. A lot of times it's not. So if that's important to you because you have items that are in your house that you don't want to see disappear, you need to make sure that you have burglary and theft. And you also need to make sure you follow what the rules are. So if you say, I have a camera, I have a central alarm system, I have blah, 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 okay? And then you have a loss. Your burglar alarm system is all, it didn't tie in. And what's the other one that I said real quick? Camera, and you didn't even know cameras. What do you think they're gonna do? That's called conditions. When you say stuff in your policy that says, I have these things, but you don't do them, you just conditioned yourself to those things, and you could end up not having a claim covered. So beware of that. Conditions, look at your exclusions, look at your conditions. So when it says, we're gonna give you that coverage, go look at what the conditions for that is and follow those rules. And also look at your exclusions to make sure you're not doing anything that is excluding why you wouldn't get covered. Okay? They give it and they will take away if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So just remember that. Look in those areas to make sure you've got the coverage for this little theft. That's what's a double-edged sword. Yes, you gotta make sure you're doing stuff. But you gotta realize, they got insurance everywhere. You got your good people, you got your bad people, you got whatever. They're gonna be paying claims, whatever. So they set out the rules, and that's what you have to abide by. And if you abide by them, and they still say, hey, whatever, you have a deceptive trade practice where you could get 3 times. There's a whole other remedy for that. Some companies are good, some companies are bad. It's just like agents and insurers and everything is. But just do your job. Make sure you're doing what was stated, and you'll have the court system behind you if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, if they give us a discount, because we have an alarm on cameras, they're giving the discount because we reduce the risk, and then we don't activate those.
Exactly.
Okay, it's not unreasonable. That risk increased. Guys, another round of applause. That was wrong. You guys are very welcome to stay. I'll let you do this one. Seriously, it's whatever y'all want, but we love it.
Anytime y'all, if you ever need anything, just give us a call. You got your phone number.
She's the owner.
She knows interns on this island backward, forward.
Good job.
That's up there.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on to, the next item on here, which is the president's report. My God, I should have had bigger print. I wanna talk about advocacy. Short-term rental advocacy, guys, it's a marathon. This is not a sprint. I know we're talking about it a lot. We're gonna talk about it all the time at every meeting. Because just like Carolyn was saying, it's not static. We get something, Carolyn has been working on short-term rental advocacy since 2015, along with us, from slightly different perspectives. But you're gonna be hearing from a lot. We have a great new development. I'm sure you've read about it in the newspaper. We have a new task force on the island. It's actually a rehydrated task force, but whatever. But it's great because it's our voice at the table. Instead of decisions being made with no input from short-term rental owners. It is being chaired by Councilman David Finkley, which has been a great person to talk to. He didn't always agree with us, but he is extremely process-driven. He's very fair-minded, and if you have concerns about short-term rentals on the side, he's a good person to talk to. David is chairing it. We were asked to put a representative on there. We have appointed Winter Bush is representing us on there. I have a little blurb from her. She's naming Zoom for us. Garm, which is mostly, as y'all know, the west end of the island. Claire Reisberg is on there, another long-term voice of short-term rental. Council Representative Marie Robb is on there. And definitely we're on different sides of the issue often. I think it's great she's there because this way she can talk to us and we can talk to her. And see the reality instead of roundabout hearsay stories. We need to be in depth. Bryson Frazier, the CFO for the park board, is on there. The past president of Strode with a long-term history of short-term rental advocacy in the state level. Mary Brandon is on there. And the Jamaica Beach representative, Galveston Alderman, we don't have her last name, so I didn't write it down here. She's on there as she's auditing it, she will not be voting to affect stuff in Galveston, because she doesn't live in Galveston. But Jamaica Beach is about to be implementing some short-term rental regulations there. And I think it's great that we are, I don't know if y'all realize this, we are light years ahead of almost every community in the country. And how long we've been doing this, and how good a relationship that we have in the industry with the city leaders. So instead of doing stuff and getting it wrong, they're coming into Galveston to see what's working right, and to model their some notes that Winter gave me, the committee has met once so far, basically laying the groundwork. Rather than playing a whack-a-mole approach, if something happens, we need to do a regulation about this, they're looking at doing something, a much more comprehensive approach that is data-driven. So not so much stories about, well, I heard my cousin's friend's neighbor did this. It's what are the numbers that are coming in from the hotline, from other reliable sources. It will be meeting again on October 23rd. Winter will continue to update us, and we will continue to update you guys. Something that I am, and actually Winter's got a year here. Let me open the floor up at this point. Something I am extremely interested in. I think that the new software is great. It's had its road bumps, but it's great because now we've got facts to deal with. Ronald was on the committee that chose that software, and the communities that opened it up, they thought they had these huge problems. Was it Palm Desert?
Yes,
Palm Desert. They ended up with 54 complaints, 23 of which were found to be valid. So you're dealing with the actual, instead of like one person complaining 15 times, actually what happened. So something I'm instructing Winter to advocate for, is I'm personally advocating for. And this is actually a great time for me to say, advocacy for short-term rentals is a responsibility of every single person in this room. It just is. If we're gonna move the needle on this stuff and have our voices heard, there's nothing magic about the board. So we've got the software, and it's doing a good job. It identified 300 unregistered properties operating on this island the first week. That is fantastic. You know, some of those, I'm sure were people like, I just bought it, I didn't know. That's great. Get registered, pay your HOT, fall in line. The ones who are, my concern is the people who know it, and they're just going, thumbing their noses, too bad. So I want to know what the work, what the flow chart is for enforcement. So there's first level, and then in 30 days, you're pulled off the platform. And that's important. If you're pulled off Airbnb and VRBO, you're going to have a problem in your place. That's one measure. What I want to know is, we do unfortunately have a very small number of people who are like, I'm not going to pay my HOT, I'm not going to fall in line, no, too bad. So what's the next steps? Because Park Board, they will make these rules. Park Board can identify windows in the city. So I am putting pressure on the city to have a clear, defined, workable enforcement path that you can deal with the non-compliant properties. I want to hear from you guys, and Winter's there, and what do you guys feel are priorities for us to be bringing to that task force? And that conversation is not just tonight.
Right, yeah, you could always email from, so we can get it to Winter.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be discussing things like, trash. There are some areas that have major trash issues. And it sounds stupid, but things like, I don't know if you know what the city code is. Trash in where I live can only go out Wednesday afternoon,
That's the
has to be pulled back in by Thursday. I have a neighbor who watches my house like, so I am there every Wednesday afternoon and every, Thursday morning, bring it back in. Because this new task force is looking at what happens if that gets red tagged the first time. Do they get red tagged, and what's the second time? What's the third? So those are things that they're going to be looking at. People are asking.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that she said to me is, there is some talk about how many infractions. You can't just continue to get infraction, and there's no further action. So there's discussion about that. It's something I'm advocating heavy for. I don't have a problem with if there's 3 strikes, 5 strikes, whatever it is, then you have to come discuss your property with somebody. I don't want anything automatic, 3 strikes and you're out. But that's That's not a good relationship builder. It should be 3 strikes and then let's talk about what's going on at your house. I saw your hand up.
Oh, I was just saying, I mentioned to someone I was coming here, and the first thing they said was, there's a house on our block, which is new, and their trash cans on the street overflowing every day.
It's a big
And
issue.
actually, here's the thing, I'm gonna give them the solution today. They don't need to wait for this task force. Butch. I call Butch and I've done it myself. That is a code violation. And that's another thing, that the hotline, it's a small island. We're all on top of each other. It's not to report stuff you may like or don't like. It's about code violations. And we should all be aware of the code as owners, and we should be living by them. That owner does not understand the code, and they should be turned in. I would encourage her to call Butch. I know for a fact, they don't have somebody driving around looking for trash cans, but if somebody calls in, they will deal with it.
Literally, that's the first thing I heard.
The mechanism already exists, that people just don't know.
Our understanding, the big issues that they're gonna be looking at a lot, but they're definitely looking at trash. They're definitely looking at noise and parties. They are definitely looking at cars. It's a big issue right now. And they're gonna be looking at and understanding occupancy. Yeah, the big question on some of these is, how do you enforce it? And I think, I don't know, I think it's not gonna be the issue of how they enforce it, but if you get caught, what's gonna happen? Does that make sense?
Well, and we are at,
There are people who are gonna have a lot of 12 cars, but they don't know, they could be, they can't be. But if they find out that those 12 cars and their new rule is, are people in the house, what's gonna be, are they gonna put their license, are they gonna fine you? When the first task force, first task force I was appointed to, all the cities that we looked at cities that were comparable to Galveston, STR. One of the big things that we found out from all of these cities was real simple. Code enforcement fines were very high. It reduced everything in the automatic. They weren't like $100, $500. They were $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 in full. So
low registration.
low registration
high
cost,
penalty.
high penalty, and I think that's what the city is. I don't know if they're looking at, but they're going to.
Well, and we're advocating for a code violation, an irresponsible trash can, a noise violation is no more or less annoying because it's a short-term rental. It is a problem, whether it's a short-term rental or a long-term rental, and we need reasonable enforcement. Another thing that I brought up is there's only so much code enforcement we can pay for, right? Do we want to pay for the level of code enforcement where we're dealing with trash cans at midnight? That's probably unreasonable. Do we need to be able to deal with noise complaints at midnight? Yes, we do. That is, and I don't care if it comes from our houses or a long-term house. But I want to hear from you guys. You kind of heard stuff we're talking about that we're bringing up. This is our opportunity to hear from y'all.
Do we want to pay?
This is our opportunity to hear from y'all. He's like a brother. What are y'all dealing with that we need to be taking to that committee?
I'm gonna say one thing. I've heard this 1,000 times. Do not make the mistake and think, well, my neighbor does the same thing and they're a regular resident. We have our own codes. We have our own ordinance, short-term rentals, that deals with short-term rentals. So the city, I'm gonna tell you now, it's apples and oranges, although
I'm going to correct you.
No.
The noise ordinance is the noise ordinance.
Absolutely.
The trash ordinance is the trash ordinance.
But my point is with
We
this,
have some additional stuff.
right, with this new task force with the city's looking at, how is that gonna stay the same? It could change. We don't wanna sit on our laurels. Now, I advocate what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If I'm gonna get X amount of money for my trash being left overnight, so it's gonna.
I love you, Nelson.
Because I just want to make sure that we're pulling this information from the data we're collecting, because there could be some inferred assumptions. We're all assuming the trash problem is all short-term rentals, and we need to pull that data and make sure the data is supporting what these assumptions are.
100%. If you did not hear the question on there, she wanted to make sure that the problems were being data driven and not just by stories and assuming that every trash problem is a short-term rental. That is part of what's happening right now.
Right.
And I will add, we're gonna have to have some patience also. The software just went live.
Right.
The data is just being built now. That did not happen in a week. It won't happen in 2 weeks. And they're figuring out how to parse out that data. What qualifies as a legitimate complaint? What doesn't qualify as a legitimate complaint? I'm pushing for a usage of the term code enforcement because it's what we're talking about. If you're sitting at your house and you can hear your neighbor next door talking in their hot tub and that bothers you, you should probably move your friends with. It's not the life we have here.
Or join them.
Even better said. My neighbor has a lovely little barbecue pit tiki thing outside of mine. I like waiting and asking if there's any ribs. But if we find something annoying, that's one thing. The question is it above 75 decibels during the day? Is it above 70 decibels at night? That's the code. That's what they should be responding to. That's what they should be tracking. And I believe that is the case. But it's going to take some time, guys. What else do you guys, that y'all are currently living under, or you'd like to be living under, that you want us taking to that task force?
Food for thought. No, I'm gonna say food for thought, but let us know.
I feel like because this is kind of too new for us as well, we almost need to hear, once this data is being collected, what you guys are collecting and a little bit of overview of that. And I think that would generate
And how it's being sorted.
Yeah.
Guys, can I put a pin 1 second? Sammy, could you wave your hand, please? Sammy, could you wave your hand, please?
Yes.
This gentleman owns Coastal.
Hello, everybody.
He is the reason we have a meeting place. Sammy, I couldn't let you come over here and not thank you on behalf of the organization. The meeting is on the 23rd. The question's wide open. I know, she is, looking to be, Winter is volunteering for the enforcement committee. I think that's great, because that clearly impacts us. What else did she put on?
Are we
there?
allowed to?
That's a task. No, it's a task force. It's a small task force. She is our voice there, and so we need to communicate through her. They will be breaking into committees or subcommittees on the 23rd. This isn't gonna happen overnight. The process is gonna be 6 to 9 months. So we represent you, where you're looking for your feedback and your engagement. As far as further advocacy goes, tomorrow, we got a call today from Galveston Rotary. Hey, are you guys available to come present on short-term rentals tomorrow? And we were like, absolutely, we would love to go do that. We're very, very happy. So Ronald and I, and I've asked Winter if she's available, and actually I'm extending it to Garm also. It's great, what a valuable opportunity that the Rotarians have questions. They know there's stuff going on with short-term rentals. They want to talk to us. Absolutely. All those conversations we can have, it's great for the community. We encourage you all to get involved, just like you're involved here tonight. Attending city council meetings, writing op-eds, park board meetings, attending meetings, it's all very valuable. So we've done advocacy, education. It is something that keeps coming up that we need to do a better job on, particularly with all the new short-term rental owners on the island. And we need to get a board meeting going, but Donna was kind enough to point us in the direction of another short-term rental organization group that does monthly short-term rental educational meetings on Zoom. They're fantastic. So I'm gonna kind of watch what this group does for a little while, and I see a stroke bubbling something like that up. As a new short-term rental owner, I would have loved to have some place I can come to. Like 1 month, let's talk about safety, let's talk about paying taxes, whatever.
What's the name of the group?
Michigan, do you remember the community of Michigan?
Oh,
Muskogee or something that's right on the lake.
You know what,
it's not local.
no,
No.
but their stuff's online. It was Zoom now, it's all.
Yeah.
And finally, our third prong, so we Stroke's mission statement is advocacy, education, and networking, which you're here doing tonight, which we're so happy to have y'all here. A part of networking is when you go through your short-term rental, and you're like, wow, why do I still have that glass shelf that I'm never going to put up? I'd like to network this out tonight. Anybody, this is one of those little mowing shelves you put over your little Victorian sink. It's the best thing since sliced bread, at least in my house. I don't need two. If anybody wants a little shelf for your short-term rental, there you go. Network that. Oh my God. So, all right, that's all your president has tonight. At this point, I'd like to have the vice president come up here.
I thought he already had the floor.
Holiday party. Our December holiday party is working on it. Date's tentative, but it will be probably on Monday, the first or second week of December. Last year was amazing. We're tentatively going to have it in the Carriage House, which is on Broadway, the golf park, 1905. We had it last year there. We had about 70 people there. We are going to have Coastal World cater for us. We have some other people who are going to be doing things for us also. We're in the process of talking to. We'll get all that information out. It's a great time. But remember that it's a social, and we will be inviting all council, all of Chamber of Commerce who are partners with us, fire, police chief, all those people will also come, and we love them to come. So keep that open. It'll be like from 5:30 to 7:30. Come as you go, eat, drink, be merry, that kind of stuff. They did a great, Carriage House did a great job last year.
To that point, if I can real quick, we need to take a quick vote. We have already had permission to spend $750 on the spring fall social hour, and then $750 for Christmas. We came in under budget on the fall one, and we'd like to move. I know, woo! And there was some good food there.
And
The
a lot of
Sammy
people
catered it.
just saying it.
We'd like to move that 250 over to the holiday one, if y'all don't mind, because that's a much more expensive party to put on. So we're gonna take a vote. Can I have a motion on moving $250 of the budget?
Move.
Awesome. You're a fish man. Anybody want to second that smart guy right there? Second, third, fourth. I don't know. Winter. Oh my gosh, winter. I'll give you names. So, all in favor of moving 250 of our budget from the fall social to the Christmas social? Aye. All opposed? You
And,
guys are an easy
and
group.
last year, Eccentric came. So we're kind of,
They were fantastic.
Oh, they were
sharing with
awesome.
them.
I love it.
What else?
I think I already have a taker. This is what happens when you sit up front.
Last week, Donna, help me, Donna, were you there? No, you missed it. We went to the HLA, Hotel Lodging Association meeting. Suzanne was there, help me. Winter was there.
Jared.
Henry was there. First name, let's see.
Jenny.
Oh, yeah, Jenny. Give me a prize. Anyway, it was a great meeting. It's a nice organization. You might want to look into joining the hotel lodging.
Y'all tell we've been friends for a very long time.
Bryson Fraser spoke. He spoke about short-term rentals. Excellent. We already heard everything, we know it, but it was nice that everyone else wanted to hear it. And then they talked about the new signage that the park board is buying. So it was really nice, and the food was excellent. I will tell you that it was excellent. That's the Tremont.
Yes.
It was.
So what
Can you
else?
please also address the CTA early bird?
CTA, certified tourism ambassador.
How many certified tourism ambassadors do we have in here?
Oh.
If you are not one, I highly recommend you look at it, guys. It's a nice little credential. We whipped out our credentials at Katie's the other day. It's
Yeah,
we're
we did.
certified. It really is beneficial as a host. I know the Silent very well. I learned so much by going through that little program. So anyway, the renewals.
Renewals are due. Renewals are part.
We'll send a
Where do you go
link.
to get
We'll
that?
send a link.
The Galveston Park Board.
We'll send
And
that.
they're working on classes as we speak, so that's very.
And this meeting counts for points.
Stroke meetings count, because you have to get like 50 points a year. It's real easy. I mean, you go to the beach, it's like that. But anyway, HLA, anyway. So, early renewal is due by the 31st. If you do before 31st, it's like $20 to renew. After that, it's $30, I think. So if you want to save $50, that is ready to go. What else am I supposed to talk about?
That's it.
We'll see how simple that was. Any questions on any of the above? No, thank you.
Thank you, Ronald. Suzanne, could you come up here for a minute? This is our treasurer. This is the money lady. The money. So we're through renewals, and thank you guys for your patience this year. You know, it was with our renewal date changing, it was a lot. I do want to say, and we haven't talked about this, we added Zelle this year, and we actually had more people Zelle than not. So we're gonna say that was a win.
Yeah.
So thank y'all for being patient with us. How much money do we have?
In the account as of today, $6,706.61. We've taken in $450 in deposits in the last month. We had our social here last month. That was our withdrawal. And so that's where we're at, 6706.
We're gonna let Suzanne pick our next last one. Anyway. Is that all right?
I think that's
I'm not looking at the blanket.
If you get it, you get it. It's fine.
8085.
What is it?
Oh, one last thing. I also went to CTA last week. Dawn and I actually both went to the Railroad Museum. They sponsored a CTA event. Again, I got my points added on there. All that stuff, but you know, they had 2 Airbnbs to train the cars. They were really cool. We got a tour of it and all that information. It was well worth just going to that just to see that. So just FYI.
How was the food?
It was just
How
pastries.
was the food?
There was only pastries.
It was.
No
comment.
But I got free love. They gave us love.
All right, guys, that is everything we have on the agenda. I'm opening up for other business. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring? Donna?
You know anything about, I went to register on Visit Galveston, apparently as an owner, we can get free advertising through them. I had trouble getting through, but it did give an offer for a free 360. Who's 360 here?
Oh,
I have a
she was here.
360.
She
It
was-
says,
Right
it said something
was-
360.
That's her. Are you 360?
Different.
It's a
We're
different,
Oops.
or they'll come and do a virtual tour of your house for free.
Oh, I know who that is.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all,
So is that the same 360 I got?
I don't know.
I think it is.
What, now where was it? What'd you do?
so
On
she
Visit
said when
Galveston.
she registered on Visit Gal, and I'm loud for that. When she registered, you can get a listing on Visit Galveston for free. Recommend everybody does it. And when she did it, she got a coupon for a free 360 tour of her home.
Oh,
That stuff is golden.
Yeah.
They don't know what our houses look like and everything we can do to help them. Yes, Donna.
Only thing was, I had to reschedule, and lucky, I figured it out in time, because if you do it with less than 24 hours, you're charged
No charge.
$150.
Yeah. And the other thing is that 360 will not load to Airbnb.
Of course.
Now,
What
it
I've
will
done-
load to your own personal site,
What I've done is
your direct booking site.
I have done nothing.
Call Aaron.
There's workarounds. You
Yeah.
can't upload that, but yeah.
So Airbnb wants to sell you their
Of
stuff.
course.
Right.
That's fine.
Well, it's,
It is.
listen, they're a business.
Yeah.
We're
They're
a
gonna make
business.
money,
I'm trying to make money.
me too,
So do we
but you
have,
can put it on your own site.
Right. You
So-
put on your social media.
But on your social
You can put
media.
it in your signature line
Yeah.
that you're sending out to people.
Facebook.
There's
Yeah,
many
yeah.
different ways.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any other business? Because we're 10 minutes long, Donna.
Okay, so the other
That was good.
stroke group, I watched their Zoom meeting. This is 1,000 times better.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And I
That's
like
another
them.
stroke
They did all
No,
right,
they're-
but
I watched it also. They're lovely. Guys, I hope y'all know, we were so lucky to have people willing to, Ronald, Mary Branham, early days to say, we've got to organize, because we could see what was coming. We, all the time, we've got, who is it reaching out to us right now? Is it San Antonio?
yes.
We've got groups reaching out to us all the time, like, hey,
So,
help
and
us.
we're gonna,
But this group-
I'm on a.
That group,
Good luck.
they didn't, I know,
Hurry up.
they weren't registered with the city.
Yeah.
They knew there was people that weren't registered and paying the hot taxes.
Yeah,
They were in the beginnings of trying to figure out how to
yeah.
do
Well,
that.
what I will tell you, my
So we're
sister,
really lucky here.
we are, and we're lucky because of the members. My sister owns a short-term rental in Nassau Bay. There was one bad experience. It was nothing like, it wasn't in the thing,
And
but.
we're working with
So now what they're dealing with, because they've got something that's festered up, is now they got all the antis coming out, like, we need to just nip this in the bud. So I'm actually working with them right now, like, hey, it can be done, it can be done responsibly, here's what to be done here, and, just trying to not have sides, to try and educate, this is our mission.
So, and I know everyone knows our Christian choir, this little group here. Well, there are 4,000 short-term rentals out there, but the mayor didn't call 4,000 short-term rentals to ask for a member to be on his task force. He called Stroke. So Stroke is at the table, and it's just one little group. We have a voice for a lot of people. And also don't forget that not only our owners here that are joined, but all of our SOAR, Sand and Sea, they have a lot of management property. And those people rely on them to disseminate our information to them, because that's what they did. Most of, 80% of people who are on short-term rentals on the island do not live on the island. I don't know if you know that. So we're small, but we're a big voice. And our city council, they don't like what we hear sometimes or say, but they are listening. They do work with us. They really do.
We
And
developed a different relationship.
so we need members. If you know good members, and it's not about numbers. I hate to say that. It's not quality, it's not quantity, it's quality. Trust me. We don't want.
I'm gonna sit you down for you. I don't know where that's going. All right, any other business? Thank you guys so much for caring enough to come tonight. It's great to see all of y'all. Come to the holiday party, it's a lot.
Oh, and bring family members and children. It's family oriented.
bringing
It's
Blake.
really nice. It was great last time.
Great, that was a good part.
It was fun.
Thank you. Any opposition?